Hey there, Ken here. Just a quick update. Fish are all fine. I haven't, saying the last time I was getting flashing and did a couple of FMG treatments. Seems okay now. One thing that I did do, and I'll turn it on now because there's a filter off, I'm just doing a quick clean. You can see there's bits of food here. I have been feeding them, and that has told me that I may be feeding them too much. But anyway, so what I did was, not an awful lot to be honest. I have turned off the spin drifter. I was just reading a bit about oxygen, and my ponds, I already generate a fair bit of oxygen between the moving bed filter and the trickle tower, and then having the spin drifter on as well. There's also the electricity factor too, but I'm not sure, and I did last year as well. I generally turn off the spin drifter for the winter because it's not really needed, and the fish seem to settle. Now it could be pure coincidence, you know, when you do two things. I did an FMG and did the second one, but they do seem to have settled. They're less jittery, and I've seen or noticed no flashing anyway in the last week or so. So hopefully either the FMG or maybe turning off the spin drifter is helping. So we'll see how that goes, but they're all looking well otherwise. Very active, you know, they're up around the window. I find even if I get up around 7 and it's just about starting to get bright, they're up and at the window. I thought they were eating more, but judging by the food there, they're not. Now I'm feeding very little, just throwing in a very small amount of wheat germ most days, not every day, and they are eating it, you know. So maybe I'll just go to every second day, because pond temperature is, we'll have a look now. I know we can't, it's about, we can, the other one's on, my Cactori is off. This one here reads a little bit lower, it's 9 degrees. Now I know people say, oh, once it's below 10 stop feeding. If they look for it, I'll give it to them, and as you can see there, if they don't want it, they won't eat it. So we will see how they do, but it has been cold. I was just saying that to a few people. I know the last probably 3 years I fed the fish over Christmas because they were looking for it, and this year, I mean, it's definitely, I wouldn't say it's a very cold snap. I mean, but I'm on the coast here, so we haven't had much ice, but it's definitely been, you know, 6-7 degrees during the day and close to 0 at night. So it's definitely been a long cold snap, you know, quite early on in the year. It wouldn't be unusual to see this maybe in February or so, but in you know, November going into December, it is a bit unusual. But anyway, it is what it is. The Cactoili, I said I did get the new sensor. I put it on. It's still not happy with it. It's jumping around a little bit, although not as bad. I did take the new one out and open it up. There's definitely no water getting into it. Whereas when I did get the new one, I opened this one up, and there definitely clearly was moisture in it. And I used silicone grease. My advice would be, there's a seal here. If you get one of these, put silicone grease on it. That blue stuff is just from the FMG treatment. It does help seal it. But anyway, I'm still waiting for the sachets of buffer to calibrate it. I ordered them about 6 weeks ago on Amazon, and they come from China, and they are on their way, I can see from the tracking, but just not here yet. So anyway, I'll wait. It's not the end of the world. Another thing I did buy, and I mentioned in the last video, was one of these battery operated, and it just dawned on me I didn't leave a battery to charge. I have one on the charge. It comes with 2 batteries. This is about €80. I'll post the link to it. But the idea is that I will use it. I can't do it with one hand. You can see it there. If I can get it out, I'll get it out. And I will show you some operation when I get that far. The battery just clips on there, and then the hose inlet you can see is there. Now with the hose inlet you can plumb it into the tap if you want, or you can drop the hose with this filter on the end into a water source, which could be a water butt, or in this case a filter, so it'll use pond water. So I will give that a go, because the reason I said I got this, when I took off I was changing the filter screen because of the damage I did to the other one, you can see the amount of dirt that's in there. It really surprised me. And this is after I did a brick acid clean, it's about 2 months ago now, and still you can see, even with the force of those washer jets over it, it doesn't get everything. So I got this yoke, hopefully that will give it a better clean and will help cleaning out various other bits of it. So it was about, I think it was about 80 something euro, about what, £70 or so. So if you're doing a car or something, you can put washing stuff in there. It comes with some spare, I suppose they go on to that joke there, those green things, the little washers, because they wear over time. And it comes with a length of hose as well. Not that a length of hose is very expensive. So the plan is, as I say, to put, I presume this goes onto here. The hose, that goes on there. It's your hose lock attachment, the standard. The hose goes in there, and there's a little valve on that, make sure it's open. So this goes on the other end to make sure it doesn't suck anything in too big into it. If I drop it in there, that means I won't suck filter media in. And just use it to wash down the filter. Not that it's that dirty at the minute, to be honest. You can see there's a little bit in the, and there's a good bit on top that always gathers there for some reason. I said to you before, that's supposedly for UV light, but it is too low. And what happens is the little yoke that I can't show you, where the wire goes into the fitting, my understanding is that is not waterproof. It shouldn't be submerged, but when you use that, it is submerged. So therefore, in my mind, is not suitable. It's not high enough. There's a bit of dirt down there. But what I'm going to do is do my usual flush out, and I'll come back to you when I'm using this bad boy here, and we'll see. I also need to clean out, I have a piece of Japanese mat in the top of this, and it's got a fair bit of dirt in it, possibly, definitely from the time I didn't have the screens in, and the filter was absolutely filthy. As I've said before, if you think your drum doesn't do an awful lot, bypass it for a week and you will be convinced otherwise, believe me. Now luckily I do have my trusty Owassi Pond Vac 4, and it's great, so I can just vac out all the dirt very easily out of this and out of the pond. So I'm going to do what I've demonstrated before on previous videos, is I vac out the dirty side, which takes a few minutes because it has to empty half the rest of the filter. And once that's empty, I then flush out my bottom drains, starting with my skimmer actually lined. There's never much in that, and the two bottom drains. There won't be a huge amount in it because I'm not feeding an awful lot. So I will do that, and I'll come back to you when I'm doing a bit of clean and try and demonstrate this thing with one hand, which will be fun. Okay, talk to you in a sec. Cheers. So, just a quick update on the, turn off the torch on my head, on my trusty power washer. So I have the filter on it, and I don't know if you can see, but it's dropped down into the clean side of the drum, and there's three. This is the most powerful setting, just to show you. You know, it's not bad at all. There's a fair, now it's not a Karcher plug-in job, but it's pretty good, I have to say, and it's definitely better on the drum. Now let me just show you this, put that up there. what I did do was turn around the drum, turn that off, turn it back on again. The drum will now spin around because I have the pump unplugged, by the way, this yoke down here that powers the jets. It should make sure nothing goes into the drum. It's far enough away there, isn't it? Actually, sorry, just let me do the manual with one hand, sorry. It won't do it. Doesn't do it when I want it to do it. Hold on a second. Turn it off. And I'll turn it on again. There's a fair bit of dirt in the drum, but that's from flushing out the bottom drains. So don't be thinking that I'm getting, you'll see now, as I said to you, when I flushed out the bottom drains, there was a lot of dirt in the drum, and that's what's coming out because I haven't had the drum running, so don't be thinking that's dirt I wouldn't normally get out. I would. But it's good, particularly in the summer months. I mean, it's not, but there are 3 settings on it. It's on P3 there now, which is, you can see the back wall is soaked, but as I say, it's a shed. I'm not too worried, it dries out quick enough. It has 3 settings on it. And it's making a liar out of me now. P3. How did I get it to P1 before? Can't remember, but I did. One of these days I'll read the instructions on these things. But anyway, I'm happy enough with that. It works pretty well. I mean, you could, if you wanted to, wash a car with it. You know, you don't need anything hugely strong in a car. You're just sort of soaping it and sponging it and rinsing it off, and it's more than good enough. So it's definitely doing the job there. So I'm happy with that. But another thing I noticed was one of my Thomas Abas is unwell. Just show you quickly. So he was floating around the top. It looks like you'll see him down there if you can. There's a reflection of me. He's swimming sideways and upside down. He's just by the drain there. So he's struggling, looks like swim bladder. So I'm going to take him out. My son has just been helping me. I had a spare fish tank, a 60 litre. Not ideal, but what I'm going to do is take him out, put him in it, add a little bit of salt and see how he does. Now he could pull around in that pond, but at current temperatures I wouldn't like to take the chance. Problem is, this time of year if I take him out, he's out till the spring, but such is life. What I'll have to do in another video is show you inside in my room where I do most of my work for my day job, and also I have my 500 litre fish tank and a smaller tank, and now a Thomas Abba in a 60 litre. I just have to put it on the floor. I've nowhere to put it. So not ideal, but listen, I'll leave it at that. I will put a link up to this on Amazon, but I am happy with it. It comes with 2 batteries, all the connections you need, and all the connections you probably will never need, and the box as well. And I was thinking, oh well, the box, but you know what, if I didn't have the box to put it in and I want to store it here, I'd probably stand on it at some stage and break it. So the box, I think, adds, so it's not bad for that. I mean, it's your usual Chinese stuff, but you know, a lot of that stuff, a lot of things are made in China nowadays. And what I did was there, lovely, I dropped that plug into the water, so I'm going to have to dry that out now for my thing. There you go. Anyway, great. Right, so I better start topping up, and I don't know, the last few weeks the water pressure has been terrible, and I was saying on my last water change 2 weeks ago, I did a big one. I took out about 4,000 or 5,000 litres, almost more than that even, out of the pond, and I had the hose on, and my wife was complaining because the toilets upstairs weren't filling, or the water tank wasn't filling, so not great. So I had to turn it off. Now at this time of year it didn't really matter. I left the spindrifter on and just had it on a bare trickle overnight. The tap, I had to turn it off during the day and then topped it up, so it took me a good 12-14 hours to top it up again. Normally it would take 5-6 hours, so I don't want to drain too much water out of the pond this time. There's no need to. You can see my FMG still has stain in there. I'll rinse this off, give that another back out, still have my, you can see the filter down there, so you can there now on the end of that jug, so it doesn't suck up any nasties. And yeah, so I'll leave it at that. Any comments, let me know. Any advice for the Tamasaba, bar warmer water and a bit of salt, and see how he gets on. FMG I don't think will do anything. I have acroflavin, but he's no wounds I can see. I think salt is probably the best, and see how I do if it's swim bladder time. Alright, talk to you. Cheers, thanks, bye.